Thousands of Japanese households remain without power after magnitude 7.4 earthquake hit the country's northeast coast late on Wednesday. At least 4 people have been killed. And for the latest, let's go live to our correspondent Phoebe Amoroso in Tokyo. Hello there, Phoebe. Yeah, when we talked earlier in the day, you told us that Tokyo lost power after the earthquake. Has everything come back to normal now?
Authorities are still working to restore power in many areas. The latest report suggested that there are still around 30,000 homes in the north of the country that do not have electricity currently, but they're estimating that this should be restored by the end of the day. There are also outages when it comes to water supply. About 4,000 households have yet to have their water supply restored. Now, when it comes to transportation, things in Tokyo are pretty much back to normal, but there are several services suspended across the north of the country, and one of the biggest concerns is the Tohoku Shinkansen, that's the bullet train, and it is a major artery connecting the length of Japan. Now, that derailed in between Miyagi and Fukushima's prefectures. 17-car trains, 16 of those derailed, and they're currently working to restore operations, but it looks like this is going to be out for the rest of the day. And in addition, expressways are also closed. Around 6 have been shut, and particularly the Joban expressway has damage in terms of bumps, in terms of cracks, and authorities are estimating it could take around 48 hours to get that restored and able for traffic to resume there. So we have heard that a couple of airlines are putting on extra flights just to try and restore the connections between the country at this time when it's been disrupted. However, we are hearing warnings that there could be aftershocks and further shakes and quakes, and so the government is asking people to remain cautious during this time, as there may be some further shaking to come.
Well, Phoebe, last week Japan commemorated the 2011 earthquake, which triggered a meltdown at the Daiichi nuclear plant in Fukushima. And this earthquake has also happened near Fukushima. So what's the current situation at the power plant? Should we be concerned?
Well, this quake immediately brought back memories from 11 years ago, and there were immediate concerns as to the status at the nuclear power plant. So at the Dai-ni nuclear power plant in Fukushima, there were reports that the pump operating the cooling system for spent fuel at units number 1 and unit number 3 did temporarily stop working, but that has now been restored. And the same happened at the Daiichi nuclear power plant at its unit 5 reactor. However, what's under investigation currently is that there has been a reported pressure drop in the containment vessel for the spent fuel or the fuel debris from the 2011 nuclear disaster. So that is containing that radioactive material. Initially the pressure rose and then it dropped, and TEPCO, the operator, says that it is investigating the circumstances and looking to restore that to normal levels. However, there have been no reports of any radiation change, any rising radiation at any of the monitoring posts. But this quake comes at a sensitive time. Not only is it very close to the anniversary of the 2011 disaster, but it's a time when fuel and energy costs are really rising, and Japan is incredibly dependent on imports. And so there is a big debate over what Japan should do for its energy security, where there are voices within government calling for a speed up in the restart of nuclear reactors, but the public is largely against nuclear power. It's causing a lot of tension here, and with this latest quake there's likely to be further resistance as it's brought back painful memories of what happened 11 years ago.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Phoebe Amoroso, reporting from Tokyo. And as Phoebe just said, the latest earthquake is located near Fukushima, where another major earthquake 11 years ago caused a nuclear accident. And here's more on that.
Following a magnitude 9 earthquake on March 11, 2011, a 15-meter tsunami disabled the power supply and cooling system of 3 Fukushima Daiichi reactors. Radioactive materials leaked from the power plant into the atmosphere and Pacific Ocean. There were chemical explosions, and the nuclear fuel in 3 of the reactors overheated and partially melted the cores. The Japan Atomic Energy Safety and Security Agency classified the disaster as a maximum level 7 according to the International Nuclear Event Scale. Authorities set up an exclusion zone, forcing more than 150,000 people to evacuate the area. A decade later, that zone remains in place and many residents have not returned. Authorities believe it will take up to 40 years to clean up the area, which has already cost Japan trillions of yen. More than 22,000 people have died or accounted for as a result of the earthquake and nuclear accident. An independent investigation set up by Japan's parliament concluded the nuclear accident was a man-made disaster, and former Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda said the state shared the blame. In 2021, Tokyo Electric Power Company submitted an application to the Japan Atomic Energy Regulatory Commission for a plan to discharge treated wastewater from the Fukushima plant into the ocean.